And yes, we're on the air here, AM 1410, WRMN in Elgin. Before I start the show, we're all pointing our fingers at each other. There is so much hustle and bustle going on in the studio right now. You've got a small group of people, a small entourage today for the Laura Dion-Jones show, yet there's so much action going on. I'm having a conversation with George, you're having a conversation with Jeff. We all met in the green room and talked about how bad it was for me to have beef stew with sherbet in the morning at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Sounds like you're pregnant.
And this is the Laura Dion-Jones show, and if this is the pre-show, this is going to be a fantastic show. Laura, how you doing today?
I'm good now that I'm here. I was a little punked this morning, feeling a little weak, wobbly. You know,
Yeah?
maybe it was a little too much sugar yesterday. I got it from you by osmosis or something, you know.
Something happened to me at 3 o'clock in the morning. I needed
Beef
some sugar.
stew and rainbow sherbet.
Well, this beef stew is my great-grandmother's recipe, and I have a craving for it in the wintertime when it's cold. And it's more of a stock and more of a soup than it is a starchy stew. So it's got a lot of beef broth in it, and it's got, of course, huge chunks of beef in it. And I just threw in a couple of carrots and a couple of potatoes, and I threw in a few noodles, but we're not going to talk about the noodles. But it's my favorite stew of all time, and it really warms you up in the winter, and it kept me warm for 3 hours.
This morning at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then you washed it down with rainbow sherbet?
Well, at 3 o'clock in the morning, because it was beef stew, it wasn't a meal with a lot of carbohydrates and a lot of vegetables, and it wasn't a meal per se. To me, it was a meal because it filled me up, but it wasn't all the calories that I needed to sustain myself through the night because it was my diabetes. So I woke up with a blood sugar of 38, and I needed sugar immediately. At that point, I need some sugar. There's no juice. I don't know what happened to all my juice. There's no juice in the house. There's a lot of hard candy, but at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to sit there and chew Jolly Ranchers until I feel better. Open the freezer, and there's my rainbow sherbet. With a spoon into the rainbow sherbet, I started, and before I knew it, I ate too much.
Before you knew what hit you.
Oh, it was so good. It's been a long time since I had rainbow sherbet.
Me too.
Yeah. You like rainbow sherbet?
Yeah. Did you ever have it from Beverly, from Rainbow Cone on Western Avenue?
No, I've never had it.
It's like the mecca of rainbow sherbet.
Really?
It's all they serve.
Western Avenue?
Every Sunday we
Beverly.
go there.
In Beverly.
Every Sunday.
What is it in Beverly? It's north of 95th.
George knows everything about
93rd?
Chicago.
Where is that Rainbow? Rainbow Cone.
Right
it's
next to
called.
Taft.
Rainbow Cone. I'm writing it down. I have to go there.
Sisson. I think that was Listen.
I sisson every day.
Listen, it's December 15th already, and today begins a 10-day countdown to Christmas.
My
Have you been good?
Of course.
And let's talk about them Bears and nuclear arm Brady from Sunday.
Let's talk about the Patriots because they're a great team.
Oh, Brady's good.
Very good team.
I think he meditates
Well,
every day because look at his face. When he's getting ready to throw, you look at his face, that is the face of Buddha.
yeah, and he's already seen the pass go where he wants it to go.
Without question.
Uh-huh.
And then there's the Jets coach, who's a good model for good sportsmanship of the year. What did they give him? What did they hit
They
him with?
suspended him for the rest of the year, and I'm fine. He's more of the weight trainer, isn't he, George?
Yeah, but come on, how old is he?
I don't know when.
That little baby stunt.
Well, the man was almost out of bounds. Defended him somehow. The
Yeah,
player was
but when
almost
he
out of
put
bounds.
his
Was it
knee-
illegal when he's out of bounds? Yeah.
I don't know, I was watching. Listen, in the studio with us today are my pal Mike Hunziker, Jeff Myers, my co-host, and Valerie the Swan, our YouTube camera girl. And our special in-studio guest today is Illinois State Senator John Milner with 2 L's from the 28th District. And what would our week before Christmas show be without our good friend Jimmy Damon stopping in to sing a Christmas favorite for us?
Is he?
And
Now.
today's show is brought to you again by...
The good folks, Dr. Clara Leah, she was one of the sponsors of that event you were at on Saturday. We'll talk about that a little bit. She was involved with that fundraiser, fashion fundraiser for Pat Keeney. So Dr. Claire was there, and also, of course, her Great Appreciation Days. You were there Friday last, weren't you, for the Appreciation Days? Imagery for you? Didn't you relax? Relax, Laura, relax. Well, either way, call the good folks at Dr. Clara Leah at 847-888-9988. They're at 2001 Larkin Avenue. She takes care of your back. Chiropractic Plus.
She's just incredible with my back. I thank God for her.
You've got good posture. Also, Taylor YMCA swim lessons, swim team, dance, and tumbling info. You name it. Just give them a call at 888-7410. They're located at 50 North McLean Boulevard. That's the good folks at Taylor Y. You can work off some sherbet you might have had at 3 a.m. when you go to Taylor Y.
Yes. And you know what? Let's bring up Pat Keeney's...
I got
the
video of you.
events.
You were delightful. Full house at Villa Barone.
Beyond a full house.
Beyond the full
They had
house.
to put more tables, and it was one of the most incredible events I've been to out here. And I was one of the models. There were several models.
Karen
Lori Faith, Karen Schock.
Mrs. Sean Stiegel.
Just Stefan's kids and just a whole bunch of people. And we need some special prayers for Pat Keeney today, who is fighting for her life. I understand she's on a ventilator, and she's in pretty bad shape. She's at Provena St. Joe, so if you can't, like, send her a card, maybe you could just stop for a few minutes and just say a little prayer for her, because everybody's heart goes out to Pat. She's a wonderful, wonderful person. And, let's see, you did the upcoming appreciation, and who else do we want to thank? Oh, Snubhounds, a canine clothing company. Think Nike meets Donna Karen, but for canines. And Casey Tool, an automotive specialty tool company available through your Snap-on mobile tool distributor. And a special thanks to you, Casey, for making this show and all our shows possible. And I'd also like to announce the winner of our Elgin's Biggest Loser 3 competition, which ended last Wednesday night, and it's a guy, Chris Brown, Tierra Boy. He lost 30-something pounds in 12 weeks, and he's the second guy to win EBL, and so now it's guys 2, gals 1.
Go guys.
And Chris could not be with us today because he had a lot of issues at work. So he's
How old is Chris?
Chris is in his... How old's Chris? 38-ish? How old are you? 40-ish?
I'm 40-ish.
Yeah, he's in that neighborhood.
Okay.
And he's going to tell us all about his favorite charity and the one he's going to donate his hard-won prize money to. And it's time for our quote of the week. You ready?
Yes.
Jeffrey?
Let's go.
I believe that you cannot go any further than you can think.
Oh, my.
I certainly believe if you don't desire a thing, you will never get it.
Mr. Sherbert, any ideas?
I'm thinking Bruce Lee.
Hey, that's good.
And that's somebody that would be very famous to you. Her name is Charlizetta Waddles. And do any of you kids know who she is?
She invented those toys. They weebles waddles, but they don't fall down.
The heiress to the Budweiser Corporation.
That's it.
No, boy, don't we wish. I was there.
Six-pack waddles, I remember her.
No, wrong. Right church, wrong pew. I chose this quote in honor of our guest, Illinois State Senator John Milner, because of his work with the food bank. For nearly 4 decades, the Reverend Charlizetta Waddles, affectionately known as Mother Waddles, devoted her life to providing food, hope, and human dignity to the downtrodden and disadvantaged people of Detroit. How about that?
Fantastic.
And which reminds me of something I always say: you got to really want to when it comes to losing weight and getting healthier in the new year. You kids know that. And if you have to want it with all your heart, you have to want it more than anything else. So take a big step toward becoming what you would like to be, health and fitness-wise, today by joining us for Elgin's Biggest Loser 4 beginning January 5th. 2011 from 5 to 6 p.m. right here at the Taylor YMCA, or go to elginsbiggestloser.com for more info. And it's time to welcome our special in-studio guest today, Illinois State Senator John Milner of the 28th District. Is that correct, 28th?
Yes, 28th District. Thanks for having me today.
Welcome, Senator John. Let's see. What area does the 28th District cover for those of us who aren't familiar with?
Well, it covers 3 counties. It starts at Euclid Avenue in Palatine, Huffman Estates, Rolling Meadows, Schaumburg, Elk Grove Village, Roselle, Bartlett, Carroll Stream, West Chicago, Wayne, St. Charles, a little bit of Elgin, South Elgin, and I'm missing some, Roselle, Bloomingdale, etc.
What area does it not cover is a short
That's a good
question.
Thank you. I should have thought of that. So, but you're in Cook County.
Cook, DuPage, and Kane. Yeah.
Wow, cool. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in the western suburbs of Maywood, Broadview, and Forest Park.
No kidding.
Yeah, I went to
Wow.
Proviso East High School.
That was the next question. What do you like to do in your spare
That's one
time?
of the Pirates, by the way.
Proviso East Pirates?
Pirates, yes.
Jim Brewer was in that.
Jim
time.
Brewer was in my class.
Hey, was he?
Yeah,
Great, went on to play in the
I'm
NBA.
dating myself, but yeah.
Yeah, that's all right.
I have no idea what you guys are
Oh, we're
talking
just
about.
throwing stuff out. We're old, we can do this.
Really, Mr. Trivia.
Oh, no
Better than I,
kidding.
anyways. What inspires you to do what you do?
Honestly, if I could make a difference in someone's life every day, it's like a psychic reward. It's an emotional pay. It's something that, you're here for a reason. And not to sound corny, but we're here on Earth for a very short time, I think. It's just the snap of your fingers, life goes by, and along the way we have to do what we can to help our fellow travelers. And as silly as it may sound to some, to me it's my mission in life.
It doesn't sound silly at all, and after reading about your background, I can understand how you feel like that. I want to switch gears a bit. I'd like to know how you ended up a police officer and then chief of police of Elmhurst.
Well, that's a long story, but in essence, I wanted to do something to make a difference in people's lives, and I looked at many, many opportunities doing that. And I did, after high school, I did things. I was a garbage man, actually. I worked on the railroad. I've driven a truck and still do occasionally for the food bank. And it's just something that I felt I could do. I had the skills to do it. And you're dealing with people every day, and you're dealing with people many times at their worst. And people have total frustration in their life. They're dealing with very difficult problems and issues. And if you can walk in there and change their day, make their day a better day just by your words or even by some of your actions, it works. I mean, there's a negative side of the job too. You have to write traffic tickets, you have to arrest people. But you do it with respect, And I know that when people thank me for the traffic ticket, I'm doing my job. And when you arrest people and they're writing letters to you later saying that it was important to them, or when you see them in court, and I've arrested people for, you name the crime, I've arrested them from homicides, serial murders, armed robberies, arsonists, and you name it. I've done it, but no matter who it was, as bad as they may have been, I still treat them with respect. And you know what? It makes a difference, because then they're willing to talk to you. They're willing to share some of the things that they did and why they did what they did. And it's all because of the way we treat them as human beings. We're all human, no matter what we do, and we all have done things in our lives that maybe we're not proud of, and we have to recognize that as we walk through life.
What do you think of the situation, quickly, what do you think of the situation in Florida last night with the school board guy who came in and...
I mean, how terrible is that? I mean, it's just a shame that someone is brought to that level. And then I just recently saw it in the news, so I don't know that much about it, but he claimed they fired his wife.
But
and
then
I guess
they
that didn't
claimed
happen.
He didn't have a wife or something.
Right, so this guy was mentally disturbed. He painted that V, for that whole issue.
Like Vendetta from the movie?
Vendetta from the movie, and it looked just like that, actually, the Vendetta from the movie. So he was mentally disturbed.
Did you see the when he shot the gun? That particularly disturbed me. And
it did, and it could have led to a suicide, in terms of either he was going to do it himself or he was hoping that the police or someone would rush in and shoot him, because he didn't.
He finally did it, though.
He had a weapon that he could have easily hit any one of those people in that room and do some serious damage or kill him, and he was firing, and many times, you'll see that over the years where people will do something like that when you look at all these crimes across the country, and we call it death by police, suicide by police. And in this case, I think he did it himself. That's all.
I think you're right. With 16 years as a police chief, tell us about some of your community accomplishments.
I think some of the biggest things that the biggest community accomplishment is getting people to work with you and being connected to the community, having people trust in you, and then it's not me, it's not about me. That's the whole thing about being a police chief. It's about the community. So when we worked together at reducing crime, it was us. It was the community doing it, and they felt that they were part of it. We didn't exclude the community. We shared with the community. We didn't hide information. It wasn't one of these that we were not an occupying army. We were people that worked with the community, and I'll tell you what, that truly makes a difference. I mean, one of the things that I was involved in as an example, we had two young people were killed in a stalking-related incident, and terrible, terrible situation. Two young people killed for no reason because this guy was totally jealous. He comes and kills these people in the backyard, and I had to tell the parents of the deceased that their children were murdered because of this goofy stalker. But we had no stalking legislation, and as we proceeded through this, the family says, what could we do to make a difference? And I said, well, if I were king, I would blah, 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 blah. Well, next thing you know, we're all working together as a team to create anti-stalking legislation, which actually became the model for the nation. And it was very difficult because no one knew what this was. It was hard to get through the process. The legislature really didn't understand it. Law enforcement didn't know if it would work.
Hard to prove?
Hard to prove, but what happened was after the outcome of this legislation, and once it passed, and it got a lot of media attention, we were even on Oprah. This was like a big thing. Once that came through, we saw that because we worked with the legislature, we worked with the victims' families, we worked with the victims' families' friends, we worked with people in the community, we worked with all of these different groups, we were able to create something that reduced the number of stalking-related incidents substantially.